Ever wonder why school feels like a factory? That's not an accident, it's the blueprint. And one oil tycoon might have drawn up the plans himself. Picture yourself in the early 1900s, watching the richest man in America look at public schools like he looks at oil refineries. Efficiency, output, standardization, John D. Rockefeller allegedly once said he didn't want a nation of thinkers, he wanted a nation of workers. Whether those exact words left his mouth or not, his actions spoke volumes. Now, imagine you're a kid in 1920. You walk into a classroom that looks suspiciously like an assembly line. Rows of desks, bells telling you when to move, subjects chopped into neat, timed intervals. Sound familiar? Here's where it gets interesting. Rockefeller poured millions into something called the General Education Board. The mission? Reshape American education from the ground up. But reshape it into what, exactly? The board didn't just throw money around randomly. They funded specific models, specific approaches, models that emphasize obedience, punctuality, and following instructions. You know, the exact skills you'd need on a factory floor or in an oil refinery. Coincidence? Think about what gets rewarded in traditional schooling. Sitting still for hours, memorizing what you're told, regurgitating answers on standardized tests. Not exactly a recipe for revolutionary thinking, is it? Now here's the uncomfortable truth. This wasn't some evil mastermind plot, it was business logic applied to education. Industry needed workers who could follow directions, show up on time, and perform repetitive tasks without questioning the system. Schools delivered exactly that product. Fast forward to today, and you're still living in that framework. You learn to raise your hand for permission. You learn that the bell controls your time. You learn that there's one right answer, and the teacher has it. Sound like critical thinking training or compliance training? But did Rockefeller single-handedly destroy dreams? That's where the story gets complicated, because here's what nobody mentions. Before his influence, most kids didn't go to school at all, especially poor kids, especially immigrant kids. Zero education versus standardized education, which destroys more dreams. The Rockefeller-backed system did something perverse. It opened doors and narrowed them simultaneously. More kids got access to schooling than ever before. But that schooling was designed to keep them in their lane, not help them change lanes. A nation of workers, indeed. Consider the alternatives that got sidelined. Progressive educators like John Dewey wanted schools built around curiosity, experimentation, and democratic participation. Guess whose vision won when the money talked? Hint, it wasn't the philosophers. Here's the irony that'll make your head spin. Rockefeller himself was an entrepreneur, an innovator, someone who broke every rule to build his empire. Then he funded a system that taught everyone else not to break rules. Classic move, climb the ladder, then pull it up behind you. The ripple effects are still everywhere. Your parents probably told you to get good grades, get a steady job, don't rock the boat. That's not wisdom, that's programming. 3 generations deep at this point. The factory model doesn't make factories anymore, but it's still making factory-minded people. Now imagine an alternate timeline. What if education boards had been funded by artists, inventors, or philosophers instead? What if schools were designed to nurture individual genius instead of collective compliance? We'll never know, because that's not the timeline we're in. Did individual dreams die? Some did. How many potential Einsteins spent their lives as middle managers because school taught them to color inside the lines? How many innovators learned that original thinking gets you detention, not praise? But here's where it gets messy. Some people thrived anyway. Some broke through the system. Some used their worker training as a foundation and built something else on top. The human spirit is stubborn that way. It finds cracks in any wall. The real question isn't whether Rockefeller destroyed dreams. It's whether he redirected them, narrowed the acceptable channels, made certain aspirations seem realistic and others seem foolish. That's subtler than destruction. It's architecture. Think about your own education. How many times were you told what you couldn't do? How many interests got labeled as not practical? How many dreams got filed under nice hobby, but how will you make money? That's the echo of a system designed for different priorities. Today's reformers talk about disrupting education, but they're still working within Rockefeller's framework. Charter schools, standardized testing, career readiness, different flavor, same factory. The assembly line just got a fresh coat of paint. Here's what's darkly fascinating. The system worked exactly as intended. It created generations of reliable workers who showed up, followed instructions, and kept the machine running. Dreams? Those were extras, bonuses, not part of the core curriculum. So did one man destroy a generation's aspirations? Maybe not single-handedly, but he definitely had both hands on the wheel. And he steered hard toward conformity, away from chaos, toward predictability, away from wild possibility. That's not conspiracy theory. That's documented philanthropy. The tragedy isn't that Rockefeller was uniquely evil. It's that his approach made perfect sense within his worldview. Of course, you'd want educated workers. Of course, you'd standardize the product. Of course, you'd minimize variables and maximize output. It's just business. But education isn't supposed to be just business. It's supposed to be the place where kids discover they can be more than workers, more than cogs, more than standardized units of labor. That's the dream that got sacrificed on the altar of efficiency. The strangest part, we're still defending this system, still measuring success by its metrics, still treating school like job training when we claim to value creativity and innovation. The cognitive dissonance is almost impressive at this scale. Here's your closing thought. Every time someone tells you to be realistic about your dreams, ask yourself whose realism that is. Is it yours? Or is it an echo from 1915, bouncing through generations, still shaping what seems possible? Because that echo has a name, a source, and a very specific agenda. That's the legacy we inherited. A nation of workers, just like the man ordered. But knowing the blueprint means you can choose whether to follow it. And that choice, that's the dream they couldn't quite kill, no matter how hard they standardized everything else.